And I am live. How's everyone doing out there? Give me a sec. Still trying to get things set up. Was kind of in the process of eating dinner real quick, and yeah, you understand how that goes. All right. So, if you can't tell by the title, obviously tonight's topic we're going to be talking about the censorship that has been happening of the various, uh, basically conservatives. I mean, they threw Louis Farrakhan in there, but Louis Farrakhan is basically there so they can sit there and say, "Oh, wait, we're not being completely biased." I mean, come on, we also banned Louis Farrakhan. I mean, if we were just getting rid of conservatives, why would we get rid of Louis Farrakhan? And that's without touching on the fact that you know there was articles that was labeling him far right, which means that it's Tim Pool did a video about this where he was talking about how more than likely they had an embargo set up to where because of how much the reporters had time to prepare, so they knew that these individuals were being banned beforehand, and you basically had a situation where they took advantage of it. They were given specific talking points, and at the last minute, at basically the 11th hour, the expression goes, they decided that they were going to ban Louis Farrakhan as well, so they don't look biased. But because all these news outlets had already had their talking points set up, more than likely they were like, "Oh, just screw it, run with it, run with it," and they classified Louis Farrakhan as alt right or far right, which everyone who's followed him before knows he's not. And in turn, it's created a situation where now they are looking at, basically, how can I put it? Facebook is looking at how badly are they going to be able, or not so much how badly, but how well are they going to be able to recover from this? Because how badly did they just damage their reputation? I think they damaged it pretty bad. I mean, oh, what's up, Humble Marty? But I think they did a horrible, like, just decimation to their credibility. I mean, granted, they weren't exactly credible to begin with. Let's just be honest. Now that I've got that thought out, how are you doing today, Humble? Hopefully doing good. Trying to get things going. Duskquill may end up joining us. And we got a Canales. What is up, bro? Always glad to see you in chat and always glad to have you on. Should have probably gotten a hold of you yesterday for Meeting of the Minds because we didn't have it. Because I didn't have any guests. That was my fault. My fault. But yeah, talking about basically conservative censorship amongst the various social media platforms. I mean, and let's be honest though, to get back on topic, we've seen this coming, and to actually take Canales as a prime example, like, well, glad you stopped by, dude. Real glad you stopped by. But and I'm gonna actually use you as an example because, well, I'll gladly have you on. As always, always look forward to having you on. You liven up the stream always. But and like I said, to cite you, I mean, come on, look how you were done on Twitter because you had quote unquote politically incorrect views. That is a prime example of what happens when you let these companies, who are very obviously far left. I mean, look at Jack Dorsey. I mean, if you listen to the way he talks, the only thing he's missing is him saying that you need to have these crystals shoved up your ass sideways to realign your chakra. I'm not even playing about that. Or even something along like Mark Zuckerberg's Android ass. Like, come on, you can tell he's far left from like where he lives and things like that, right? No, it's not just the nose ring. It's the entire way he nose rings. Yes, yes, right. And he wasn't able to, like, let's touch on the Joe Rogan podcast with him, Tim Pool, and Vijaya, whatever her last name is. All right, you have the situation there where they were blatantly talking about how where Tim even said, keep this up, keep censoring one side, one tribe, and sooner or later you're going to see a basically bills start to be introduced in different states and possibly even on a federal level to curb it. And now what do you see? California, a Republican there had, and I think it's about to be signed into law, or going through the process of becoming a law that will force any company that is, any tech company, social media company specifically, that is within the confines of California, to have to basically be a neutral party and at the same time have terms of service that they stick to. So you can't just like they can't sit there and have like far lefties that they will let get away with everything, and then the people on the right that they do everything that they can to get rid of as soon as the person speaks. And you also have the fact that it also would force them to be non-biased, because the terminology of the bill, if I remember correctly, specifically states non-biased. Same with Texas, also introducing a bill that has similar language of non-biased, basically stating that social media platforms can't be biased, and if they are, then they open themselves up to the state of Texas being able to sue them for censorship of conservatives or one specific tribe in general. And even if it doesn't, even if they try to skirt things in a way that prevents them from being, I guess you could say, that law from being completely enforced, it still makes it to where it opens it up to where people, your average everyday individual, can still sue them, because of the fact that at that point, if they live in the confines of Texas and they feel that they are being removed from the public square, which is, let's be honest, things like social media, Facebook, all these various, the Facebook, Twitter, whatever, that's the new public square. And if you remove somebody from there, then they cannot engage in public discourse. Because remember, the whole point of the First Amendment, it actually covers 5 things, and the ability to speak within the public square is covered in, under that. Right to assembly, things like that. If social media is coming down on one specific tribe, that removes their right to assembly, even if it is only a digital assembly. It is still a assembly. And and the far left, and they're constantly talking about, well, my private platform. Well, yes, it's a private platform, but that doesn't give it the right to be able to just go, oh, well, I'm going to circumvent the First Amendment even though I am a company that is based within America. Yeah, basically they have privatized the public square and are only allowing speech to those who side with the mainstream discourse. Exactly. Rules for thee, not for me. If my tribe does something that I would normally ban a conservative for, or anyone on the right for, then they're protected. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to be looking this way while they're over here doing something. It's like, what was it? I think it was one of the various protests. I think it was like, not Unite the Right 2, but it was, either way, it was a protest going on. Police were there, and also refused to turn around when people were saying, "No, there's things going on, people behind you that are not doing, that are doing wrong." Actually, I think it was it was a police accountability protest or something along the lines, BLM, and officers had a black band over their badge number. Because remember, law enforcement, their identification number is their badge number, for those who don't know. So, and it's, and then on top of that, you have things like Portland police and how they act. And if I remember right, it was actually in Portland, and it was Portland police actually sticking up for the far lefties. But mind you, it was the best way to describe it when it comes to Portland. Their mayor supports Antifa. The chief of police is a black female, which I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying she's a black female who also supports Antifa. Like, they recently had basically a council meeting where they grilled the chief of police about why they were not getting new recruits for the police department. Well, let's see. And then they were worrying about diversity. Yeah, it really is. It's straight just you don't want like the thing about the thing about Portland is it's let me put it to you like this. San Francisco has the highest like amount of human feces on its streets and throughout the city, followed by Portland, barely, barely. And don't get me wrong, like I understand, part of the problem that they're having is the fact that they basically pass a piss test, things like that. They cannot issue firearms to people who smoke pot because of the fact that federal law. Well, lobby to get the law changed. We need to be doing that anyway. More states are trying to pretty much get the legalize pot. Sounds like UK asked me about my butter knife. Yeah, right. Don't even get me started on Shadiq Khan, dude, and Londonistan, and how they just completely are destroying. Like, and the thing is, a buddy of mine's from Essex. Now, those who don't know, London basically grew to kind of engulf Essex. So Essex is a part of London, but separate from London. It's weird, all right. But the thing is he, and I've heard my buddy state, he's like, look, dude, most people in London don't have a problem with all the various Muslims coming over and people of Middle Eastern descent. The ones that come over and adapt and, I guess you could say assimilate to English culture and British culture, they make Britain better for it. But those who come over and try to make Britain and whatnot like the countries that they were fleeing within the Middle East, they make it worse. And of course, then you have the prime example, and this is what's going to happen. You're seeing it in the UK with all the censorship going on. What they're trying to do is they're trying to set up like a social credit score that like what they have in China, or they're trying to set up what they have over in the UK, where if you say something that is politically incorrect, they will literally send law enforcement to your house to arrest you, fine you, things like that. There was a trans woman, man to female, that was arrested because of the fact that she whatever stated that they were trans. In an argument, saying, "Look, I'm trans. I was once a man." But because of the way the UK is and whatnot, they treated that as a, pretty much the best way I can describe it is they treated it as still dead naming and things like that, which they actually do have. Remember, they have laws against actually, and it's ridiculous. And like you're seeing something similar here. I mean, look at Twitter. Twitter's a prime example. Once again, Tim Pool touched on this. Conservatives are more than likely to view, someone who is trans as, basically as misgendering. If you're a man, you're born a man, you'll always be a man. There's no amount of, hormones and things like that that'll make you a woman. Yes, Canales, they did. Yes, they did. And that's why I find it funny, Count Dankula and Sargon. Yeah, and I hope they win. Same with Tommy Robinson, whether you like him or hate him. Tommy Robinson, like, let's be honest, he is a controversial figure. But he admits he did some bad in the past, and he's trying to fix and he's trying to move on. But the BBC and various, like law enforcement, like that was one of the things I wanted to talk about actually was how him campaigning over this past week. You see him on video be assaulted, have the same individual come up to him twice trying to start something, trying to be violent with him. That individual then goes to the BBC and Sky News and talks about, how, they were following me and I was just heading to work. And then the video that Tommy Robinson puts out disproves it. But do you see the Sky News or BBC News or whatnot printing a retraction? No. They're of course not, because of the fact that let's be honest, right now the only people that are in power within the UK are basically far lefties and people on the right who are conservatives who are who have the spine of a jellyfish. That is the best way to put it. Because, quite frankly, they don't stand up for conservative values. And yeah, I agree, Canales, it is Orwellian. It is, you know, ridiculous. I mean, and you know, I may not necessarily agree with trans ideology. I'm one to believe that there's a lot more going on neurologically than what's being, like, because of the fact that they're not allowing the research to be done into what happens with these individuals. Then again, I'm also like, up to me, I would have a lot of tests done to find out, but that's me. You know, right. That was exactly my point, humble Marty. The Conservative Party there within the UK, and it's funny. It's like the Labour Party doesn't. They call themselves. Let me rephrase that. The Labour Party. They don't worry about the. I'm sorry, but they are a bunch of elitists too. It's like the Democrats. The Green New Deal was literally denounced by the largest labor union here within the United States, and Democrats are still trying to parade it around like it was the best thing since sliced bread. And then when it came time to vote on it, you know, the shout out to Mike Lee of Utah and his epic speech regarding it. But when it came time to vote on it, what did they do? Present. Didn't bother to actually vote on it. I'm just saying. And like, yeah. But yeah, no, the things going on there, you're seeing these same ideas be implemented here with the like censorship of the, and it's funny because I came prepared for tonight's stream. I just remembered that. Give me a second. Trying to too many things open. My Steam. Don't judge me. I admit I'm a PC gamer. I'm a proud PC gamer. All right. Tim Pool pointed out this diagram. Let me move this over for the time being. You know, the Green New Deal is bad because it got conservatives and Democrats to agree on something. Well said. Well said, humble Marty. I like that. Well played, sir. Let's say screen share. All right. So, what you're seeing here is a diagram showing how far Democrats and Republicans have drifted apart from where they were. Now, notice in '94, the medium is pretty close. It was, you know, they had more areas, there was an overlap, they were more likely to agree. But now look, you look at the Republicans, yeah, they've drifted a little bit to the right, but the left has shifted so far to the left that they're sitting there saying the right's gone far right, but it's really them who's gone off the rails. What's up, Starve? Elion. Yeah, it is. That's once again, I'm actually citing Tim Pool for the graphs. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had them. So, like that is one of those things that I'm actually glad he finally shared them, because I was trying to find these graphs and I didn't know where to start to actually find them. All right, so let me stop sharing for a sec. Oh, but yeah. Wait, no, that's not. Stop. All right. Then you have think it's this one. Yes. Then you have this one where it's basically yeah. There we go. Trying to give me a sec. Trying to get the bloop. All right. But notice from 70, you had pretty solid middle between the two. Yeah, but a pretty solid, you know, overlap between the two parties. And as you go on, that overlap starts to drift apart. Now, you do see, like, the right through here from 2006 to 2000, I'd say roughly 8. They did drift a little bit to the right, but over time they've kind of focused around a specific, you know, set of ideas. They've leveled out pretty much because they've stayed within this bracket now for a while, whereas the left was doing the same. And then you have, like, I think this is incorrect. Me personally, I view this, I look at this and I'm like, I think it was starting to push that way around here, actually, right around 2010, 2012, because that's when you saw. That's when you started to see the rise of intersectionality due to Obama making it very mainstream and putting it to the forefront of politics. It, the things like did the whole basically the overlap, the having a gay trans Muslim feminist. That'd be but yeah, a black gay trans Muslim feminist. That's like all a whole bunch of points of intersectionality, and that was around the time you started seeing things like that. Now they didn't really start using like pronouns and things like that until around 2014, but it started the far left started gaining prominence then. And you see now, like, so I think it would be more like this. It'd be a let me stop screen sharing so I can give you the right how. All right, so instead of it being dink and then all of a sudden over to no, it'd be more accurately it'd be a slope. Over time, it gradually, I mean, got to that point. All right, and thus creating the problems that we see now, where it's this the diagram looks like left limb from being a butt in the groove to being a bum that's had too much McDonald's. Pretty much. And it's funny that you mentioned that because the next one I'm going to show, I gotta find it real quick, actually also emphasizes that same point where it was a basically it's another one that Tim Pool uses a lot from The Economist, and it shows how the right once again started to focus around a specific set of ideals, whereas the left it's kind of spread out. Now, to any political party, that's a bad thing. That's going to create issues in the long run because of the fact that if you cannot coalesce around core groups of ideas, it's like I've stated before, ideology has been and always will be the monolithic figure that blocks one's view of the big picture. And in this case, because their ideology has become so spread out, they think, oh, this is going to be a good thing. It'll get us votes. We'll be able to form a coalition to win the presidency and things like that. But it really doesn't. What it does is people who are closer to being in the middle, oh, later, Canales, you have a good night, get some good sleep, and yeah, like I said, I'll talk to you about coming on next week's meeting of the mind. But yeah, because they're so spread out, because they've lost their ability to focus around a specific group of ideals, what they have done is they have effectively run off people who would be moderate, for instance, moderate Democrats, those who may be, I guess you could say, there it is, fiscally, not fiscally, but I guess the best way to say it, they're closer to being fiscally conservative, but at the same time, are socially liberal. Let me get the screen share going again. Pal. All right. So, as you see, once again, same thing as the other one showed, where at one time you had, the right and left working together, have a little bit of overlap. They weren't really that far apart. And then you see, over time, mid 90s, which makes sense, 1990. That's where you started to. That's what led to the Clinton presidency, things like that. But they're still kind of fine under Bush. They're able. Then again, let's be honest. Nobody wanted a Al Gore presidency. Yes, that's exactly it, Humble Marty. The crazies ran off the normies, but it's I'll go into that here in a second. But no one wanted a Gore presidency though. That's why he didn't get elected. You can sit there and blame Florida all you want. No, nobody wanted a Gore presidency. All right, it's like and think about it. We are on our fourth our fifth president that was smart on their VP picks. You had Clinton, who had Gore. Nobody wanted a Gore presidency. You had Bush, who had Cheney. Nobody wanted a Cheney presidency. You had Obama, who went Biden. Biden may be the front runner, but nobody wants President Joe Biden. Let's be honest. Nobody. There's nobody with a brain, anybody wants creepy Joe Biden, creepy Uncle Joe, to be president. And nobody wants President Pence either. But anyway, around the time, like 2008, right here, roughly, is around when Obama got elected. All right. Notice what starts to happen. And notice what I was talking about earlier, how, because this graph better represents, what I was talking about, where the Obama making intersectionality kind of mainstream. And now look what happened. This is all the effects of intersectionality. And to touch on what Humble Marty was talking about, is what you're seeing is that there's a lot of individuals who are saying they didn't leave the Democrats left them. Why? Because of the fact that they've gone so far to the left, where the right has focused very much around core ideas. They focus. They're like, okay, if we're going to win the presidency, and if you look, it starts to happen right around 2012. Why? Because Romney, for starters, was a bad choice for the 2012 presidential, nominee. They wanted, I honestly believe if they had had Ron Paul, who ran that year, get the nomination, Ron Paul would have beat Obama. It would have been one of those, Ron Paul would have had the votes and had the Electoral College, because of the fact that a lot of people would have backed him, because of the fact that he's very libertarian. And you'd had people who were, because you had people on the left who were already getting tired of the fact that every time they criticized something that Obama did, because remember, within the first 6 months after Obama got into office, what happened? His Harvard friend, and had his door was stuck. He elbowed it, got it open, went inside. Police were called by a neighbor because they didn't recognize him. They just saw a black guy breaking into their neighbor's house. They didn't get a good look at his face. They just saw, the police show up. They asked him for his ID. That's all he had to do. Show him his ID. It has his address on there. He would have been like, oh, well, all right. You have a good day, sir. And they would have left. No, he had to carry on. He had to make a scene, make a ruckus, this, that, and the other. Police arrested him. Obama went on TV that night and said, okay, it was stupid what Boston police did. And that led to the meeting between that professor, the officer that arrested him, and Obama in the Rose Garden, a week or two later. And that's that. And then when people are like, Fast and Furious, Holder, oh, Congress going after him because a Border Patrol agent got killed by guns that should have never been sold to cartel members. Oh, well, Congress coming after me is just that old racism. You're the Attorney General. That happened on your watch. You are responsible for that. You can sit there and say, well, it was a Bush policy, the holdover policy that we're no. That is your responsibility. It happened under your watch. Don't give me racism when you were the one that did it. But anyway, and right here, the graph shows that's where that divide started to happen. And then, I think I got one more to show. 1 second. That I do want to show, but I'm going to set that down for the time being. I think that might actually be it on those suicide rates up. And then you got things like this. Give me a sec. You got things like this. We're having this conversation about censorship and things of the such. Then you have the left, who runs these companies, the pyramid of white supremacy. Most of the stuff you find in here are things that you're supposed to do with, when you live in a civilized, progressive society. Even though it says progressive here, they're not progressive. Let's see. Avoiding confrontation with racist family members. If you have a confrontation with them, how are you going to be able to get them to realize that racism is bad? Remaining apolitical. Not everyone is willing to join the culture war. Politics doesn't affect me. Once again, not everyone wants to follow politics. Two sides to every story. There is two sides to every story. And I'm still at the bottom. Get over slavery. Not all white people. It's just a joke. Doesn't matter who you vote for. Am I the only one that the Obama sounds like a sorority chick from Legally Blonde? Yeah, a lot of ways. And you have the situation like, okay, I understand racial slurs. Okay, I'll give you that one. That makes sense. That is actually racial profiling. Another good one. The hiring discrimination. What do you think affirmative action technically is? It is you must have X amount of minorities on staff. Still classified as hiring discrimination. And if you, according to Thomas Sowell, if you don't know who he is, you need to look him up. He is a economist who was a former socialist, Democrat who, once he got through college and learned economics, became a conservative, lost all a capitalist conservative, full blown. And he talks about how under affirmative action and how it's actually damaged the minority communities, specifically the African American community, and how the African American community were actually seeing higher wages prior to it. Why? Because it didn't. I'm not going to go into it. It basically because it. Instead of holding out for someone who is qualified because you were forced to have someone, X amount of individuals who were minorities on staff, instead of holding out and be like, well, you're obviously qualified for the job, blah, da, 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 and I want to hire you on. Now that, that black guy has leverage. He can argue, okay, I want to make X amount of money. But under affirmative action, it's like, well, I'm just hiring you because my affirmative action. And what's funny is affirmative action, which is one of the things that leads to things like tokenism. Look, reverse racism, the way they use reverse racism is not what a lot of people actually consider reverse racism. What they say is reverse racism is actually racism. Reverse racism is when you're claiming to do something for diversity's sake, but it's really just, it's basically your, not even that. So let's say the way I generally approach reverse racism is saying I only date one specific ethnicity. Like my sister, she only dates black guys. Okay, well, because of that, that's what I classify as reverse racism. She's being racist to everyone who's not black in the dating realm. That's what I classify it as. Yeah, I look at it that way. I mean, I'm not saying everyone uses it that way, but that's how I view it. Freedom Tunes covered this affirmative action thing in a cartoon. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Love Freedom Tunes. Love them. They're generally very comical. The Debunkers is great. The one newscaster, I can't remember his name, but the jokes that they make with him, very hilarious. Denial of white privilege. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Let's see. Let's get this one. Characteristics of white supremacy. Now, there's things on the last one. Pillars of I guess you could say a progressive modern society. Once again, same thing. They got stuff in this that are paramount to having a working society. Objectivity. You need that. Without objectivity, you can be told anything and you'll just believe it. Progress is bigger, depending on where. Progress for the sake of progress, no. But proper progress, moving forward and not sticking to things of the past, it is. Individualism. Really, the fact that without the individual, If everyone is exactly the same, you don't have new thought. You don't have people thinking up of ways to fix things. Fear of an open conflict. Well, I don't want my society tearing itself apart over something as stupid as race differences. You know, uh, either or thinking. Either or thinking. Come on. That's paternalism. Only worship of the written word. We are a Western society, so you're gonna sit there and say, but yeah, instead of saying that, take China, take all these other countries that stick to their age-old books. Take Sun Tzu. That I'm a firm believer that everyone should read that. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. The Book of the Five Rings, things like that. That's worship of the written word. And I'm citing people who are of, Chinese and Japanese descent. Excuse me. Quantity over quality. Let's be honest. We wouldn't have won World War II if we were going with quality over quantity. World War II was the battle of production, where Germany only had like about 2,000 Tiger tanks, I think it was. We had 50,000 Sherman tanks. Yes, the Sherman tanks were weak against the Tigers, but it's like ants on a grasshopper. You only have a handful of tanks, and you have a horde of, against a horde of other tanks. It doesn't matter how good of tanks there are. If you have more of them, you're going to win. Defensiveness. Well, when you sit there and say that I'm automatically a racist, I'm going to be defensive. And a lot of the people who are banned are people who point out these very same things, who point out the flaws in their logic, who go against what these individuals are saying. And what's even funny, percentage of Democrats have reversed their opinion on immigrants since 1994. Percentage who say immigrants strengthen our country because of their hard work and talent. Look at that, 83%. GOP has gone up too. But the thing is I don't know any conservative that'll sit there and say you can like Alex Jones. All I gotta say is watch out for the atrazine, because it's turning the frogs gay. But anyway, but the point I'm making is the fact that people, they banned individuals who point out the very same things that I am pointing out, that point out the flaws in their arguments, like I'm doing now. And it's kind of sad that the fact that people see it. Let's be honest, everyone sees it. Not just me, not just a handful of former. I guess you say not even former. A handful of people who are in the culture war. A lot of people see it. It's not just oh well, they got rid of Farrakhan and this, that, and the other. Everyone's saying, well, the only reason why you got rid of Farrakhan, yeah, Alex Jones got banned, and that's the thing. Let me tell you a story, Humble Marty, and everyone else will be along for the ride. About a year and a half ago, it was 2017 actually, so about two. Dude I've known for years, all right? Back when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, those years, he was one of the people that I hung out with at the old coffee shop and the grind and everything. Very intelligent guy. Always had various books on him that he was reading, always constantly trying to gain more knowledge, things like that. This is what I'm going to explain to you what intersectionality does. I'm going to explain to you what progressivism, you know what I'm trying to say, does to once logical, sane individuals. Once you go far left, you're not going to be firing on all cylinders anymore. All right. But what happened is he posted a bit about Alex Jones, talking about how he was nothing but a crazy kook and this, that, and the other. And I pointed out Alex Jones has actually been correct on several occasions. Has he said some crazy shit? Yeah, but he's actually been correct. And when you and then they started posting things like, "Well, making the frogs gay" and this, that, and the other. It's like, I'm not saying he doesn't say crazy shit, but I am saying he's been proven right a lot of times. He has a natural eye for, even being a conspiracy theorist. He does have a good eye for citing the winds of society and how they're going to change. And it's sad is, if I remember correctly, he was saying, "Hey, these things are going to, they're not just going to stop at Alex Jones. They're not just going to stop like a Paul Joseph Watson. When they got rid of Alex Jones, he even pointed out, do you think they're going to stop with him?" He was honest about it. A lot of these individuals were like, Tim Pool even was saying, "Do you think they're going to stop with them?" And now look what's happened. They proved they weren't going to stop with them. And once again, it's because of media pressure. CNN, Oliver Darcy, he's constantly talking about how, he's got this, how media pressure helped get Alex Jones banned. Yeah, media pressure from you. Media pressure from someone who's a hacktivist who pretends to be a journalist, but is really nothing more than a far-left activist abusing his position of authority within modern journalism is the best way I can put it. It's really sad, actually, because of the fact that journalism is dead, and the few people who do practice actual journalism don't get the attention that they should. And take for instance Tim Pool. He was a darling of the far left when he agreed with them. But when they started talking crazy, they all start, "Oh, well, he's far right. He's this, he's that." Thing to remember, whenever somebody sits there and says that someone is far right, or that they are, pretty much, the best way I can put it, they use far right very liberally. They will lump, especially with Nazi, all the various isms and phobes and whatnot. They are really mainly talking about how, it's not that these individuals are actually these things. What they're saying is, I don't have a smart, well thought out rebuttal to what they say, and instead of just giving it to them and going, "Okay, you got me. Let me come back to you after I've done a bit of research and can actually, we'll continue to this debate then." Instead of taking that few minutes of that it takes to research something and further educate yourself, what do they do? "Oh, well, you're just a Nazi. You're just a racist. You're a homophobe, a transphobe. You da 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 da." When you demand more research be done, "Oh, well, you just don't know what you're talking about." I do. I've done my research. If I hadn't done my research, I wouldn't be talking about it. Mainly because every time I try to talk about something when I haven't done my research, I usually end up regretting it. I'm just saying. Usually end up regretting it. But and what makes it worse is we could easily be fixing a lot of these problems. It's literally, these far lefties, look at who all that they have running for president, or trying to get the primary for the Democrats. Go ahead, look at it. 23 people, with more being viewed as possibles. Get out of here. Don't sit there and say that they are not, that the Democrat field isn't crowded. Now, granted, it worked for Trump. That worked in Trump's favor. Why? You had a bunch of candidates that were kind of meh. No one really stood out, and then along comes Trump. Build a wall. Make America great again. Would brand people with, which is what they do when they call someone a racist and this, that, and the other. They try to brand them. Just they're not good at it. Whereas Trump is. He was. Look at how many people, yeah, you got Kamala Khan and this, that, and the other. You got Sanders. You got Biden. Nobody cares that Beto O'Rourke is running for president. His soy-filled ass. They're all like, "Shut your Irish ass up." You ain't gonna win the presidency. Quit trying to act like you're, Beto. I think his real name's like Francis O'Rourke. Quit trying to act like you're Latin. Things like that. And then you have, other things like, let's see, nobody cares about, like, you have people who care about Kamala Khan, but like that care about Kamala Khan. They really don't. Ah! All right. Well, I'm having a collapse of thing. My things are collapsing. How did that get spun around backwards? That was the new one. Got my Balkans, my violin, everything knocking over. Really? This is. Hold on, folks. Technical difficulties of everything and their mama deciding to fall and go all over. Come on, Logan. You're chilling there. A minute ago. Move that over. I will get my way back under control, damn it. And then I will get back into, swordplay to do it. If I had okay, I do, but a couple of them have been broken. Foils, man. Get back into fencing hardcore, because fencing, if you have never fenced or you're uninitiated on fencing, fencing is very strenuous. Swords and whatnot in general, like, are very strenuous because of the fact that it requires a lot of energy. Just like you are moving a lot. Hey, where's my blue lantern ring? Hope it didn't fall in my coffee. Oh, right, there it is. There it is. All right. Then, of course, pull Kenny. I'm going to put Kenny here. Kenny needs more love. Don't y'all agree Kenny needs more love? Kenny needs more love. Actually, Kenny used to be on my backpack all the time. That's why he's kind of got he looks grungy and dirty. Had this thing for years. But, all right. Back on topic. So, but let's be honest, nobody's really shooting to the top. All right, and if you cite like Sticks, he says that's kind of expected. You won't really know until the first or second debate, the first round of voting, maybe the second or third, before you really start to see candidates pull ahead to get the nomination. But let's be honest, when you have that packed of a field, and you don't have someone at this point standing out, like Trump immediately out the gate. What's up? You don't want Lion Ted. You don't want, the like low energy Jeb or something like that. Things like that. Like he was branding people. He was doing things to shoot himself ahead. MAGA, things like that. Where are you seeing that from the left? Yeah, you got Bernie Sanders, but who wants Bernie Sanders at this point? There's a reason, like, after he endorsed Hillary, after she stole his, a election that he had won, hands down, won. Who's going to cite him? Who's going to back him? Who's going to actually want him in office if at the drop of a hat, he will sit there and be like, well, I endorse, let's see if I can do this. I endorse Hillary Clinton for the presidential nominee. I want everyone who's going to vote for me to go and vote for her and try your best to actually get her elected president. Let me know how good my Bernie Sanders was. I'm trying to get better at these various political impersonations. Now, listen here. Now, back when I was in office, I can tell you that a lot of these things wouldn't have happened. These individuals, first off, I won the presidency by playing my saxophone and being a sexy beast of a man, even if I was a bit of a pudgy president. I do like my cheeseburger, I'm just saying. And even though I did have a little bit of dome in the Oval Office by Miss Monica Lewinsky, I can guarantee that it was only dome. I did not have intercourse with that woman. And that's the thing. The current presidential hopefuls that are trying to get the nominee for the Democrats, there's nothing, you wouldn't want to bone any of them either. And I'm just saying, if you like looking at these low energy individuals trying their best to actually come across as good, Democrat presidents, I can tell you that they're going to fail. But you get the idea. Like, he had something like Clinton stood out, and then you have only leftists who'd be fun would be Yang because he called everyone out on their BS. Yeah, but Yang said some stupid shit too. Don't let Yang, like, he said some racially motivated shit too, and it's like, oh, thank you. I'm still kind of working on getting my Billy boy, not my Billy boy, but my Georgia boy, my Bush, because you gotta have a bit of a, he's got a bit different of voice. But I'll get it. And then of course there's always Obama, who, anyone who remembers, when I was in office, I stood out because of the fact that I could speak with diction and strong, well-voiced, I guess you could say, arguments that, even though most of my arguments, the minute they were put to a little scrutiny, fell apart, people still believed that I knew what I was talking about. Like, once again, they stood out. And then you have Trump. Trump stood out. There's no one amongst the current Democrats that are standing out. And, to tie back to the censorship, the people that were censored are some of the people that were calling this out, that these are individuals that did not stand out. It seemed like a mob of people. None of y'all are interesting. I don't like any of y'all. Y'all spouting far left talking points. Cory Booker, I'm Spartacus. Let's be honest. And then people, think about it. Those that were banned were Paul Joseph Watson, for instance, calls out shit like this. Oh, but he's a dangerous individual. Yeah, Hey, Mark Zuckerberg, I think you need to go back in for reprogramming or debugging or something. You're looking kind of off there. The programming's going wrong. Something, I don't know. Don't know what to tell you there, Mark. But you need to do something fast because your company's dying quickly. But yeah, I mean, of course CNN's going to go after these individuals. Of course these far lefties are going to dance for joy, pop champagne corks, as I've heard put. Of course they're going to do all that because of the fact that they are looking at it from a biased perspective. They're like, oh, we're censoring our competitors. We're going to be making money again. And it's like, no. All you're doing is helping further solidify that Facebook, and everyone who knows, Facebook knows, at least most of them do, that Facebook also owns Instagram. Yeah, Instagram's growing, but Instagram's also going to stop growing because everyone who sees how these individuals were treated by Facebook, and who, once again, owns Instagram. So, like, Farrakhan can't have a Facebook or an Instagram account. After they called them far right. Whatever. But, he can't have an account anymore. All these other individuals, Paul Joseph Watson, Laura Loomer, Alex Jones, who I thought was already banned off of Facebook anyway. Let's be honest, I thought they did that a while ago. And like, here's the other thing that makes it weird. Like, if you share videos supposedly of like Paul Joseph Watson, things of the such, you can be banned off of Facebook. Bitch, I'm still sharing Paul Joseph Watson videos. Why? Because I watch his videos. Out of the InfoWars crew, he was actually one of the few he was the one that I actually for sure could be like, okay, he's snarky, he's witty, he's a bit funny. Laura Loomer, she did some things that made me question if she understood how she was really affecting the situation. Because let's be honest, like taking migrants to Nancy Pelosi's house. Okay, well, hilarious. Let's be honest, not exactly the smartest move. Makes her look bad. You know, it like chaining herself to the Twitter HQ or handcuffing her to the HQ. Okay, that would have worked if she had done it a bit differently. If she'd actually like stuck to her gun and made sure people kept talking about it. Laura Loomer, change yourself to Twitter HQ, things like that. And her being a journalist, of course, she's going to want to be. Twitter is a platform for that journalists use heavily. I wouldn't say for journalists, but they use it heavily. And if I remember correctly, Jack Dorsey had even been cited saying that Twitter's done if the journalists leave. So, just one of those things. And, yes, Trump retweeted Paul Joseph Watson and Lauren Southern and things like that. I think she was also one of the people banned, talking about, all the various censorship and whatnot going on. And it's like, okay, retweeting and talking about it does not fix the situation. It's one of those, as bad as it sounds, you need something to be done. I don't like executive orders being used. I don't like them being issued. But this is something that requires an executive order because the House is going to block it. It's going to block any attempt to rein in and actually effectively break up or I guess you could say regulate these social media sites because they are effectively a monopoly. Now, a lot of conservatives say that to fight this, they need to enforce monopoly laws. Yes and no. Oh, you son of a whatever. Screw you, Gorgonite. Screw you. But the point being though, look at the how this would be handled if they tried to go through the proper channels, if they tried to go through Congress. The Democrats are benefiting from this. They are benefiting from the right being censored the way they are and things of the such. They are benefiting from the right being run off these far left platforms. I mean, there's even there's countless studies that show that there are the majority of Democrats want to go more moderate. They want to go more towards the center, where the far left keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. I mean, remember a few weeks ago the Good Fight commercial where the individual walking and he's talking about how his mother always told him don't throw the first punch and this, that, and the other, and he's talking about how but these white nationalists are talking about how basically are allowed to speak and this, that, and the other platformed. And then he goes on to mention the Overton window, and he's like, oh, it doesn't mean anything without some enforcement. See, here's the thing. Yeah, go ahead and try to enforce your pushing of the Overton window. It's not going to work because it's just going to force people to solidify where they are. They're going to become the rock while you're pushing this rubber band, pushing and pushing and pushing. And when that rubber band snaps back, it's not going to shift the Overton window in your direction. It's going to shift it in the opposite direction. It's going to snap back and go more to the right. And it might go greatly to the right. And that's the thing. Do a little research. Every time you've had something like this happen, that's what happened. You have it always snap back in the opposite direction than what these individuals are trying to push. Now, and these same far lefties will sit there and try to say, oh, well, censorship is good. We don't want these people. Anna Navarro, I want them gone. I want them silenced. I want them muted. Sounds very authoritarian of you, Miss Navarro. Doesn't sound very American of you. Things like that. And the other thing is it's like oh, please tell me I didn't put that one in my funny folder. I think I did. I did. I did. All right, I'll do it this way. The funny folder. But like, there was one. I wanted. The quote is, "There's two types of fascists. Fascists and anti-fascists." I just want to be able to give the gentleman proper credit, because I think who I think was the one that said it. I tend to put everything into my funny folder. This way, it doesn't get lost. It just takes me a minute to find it. My funny folder would trigger a lot of liberals. Oh man, when I had 9 gigs of memes before my whole hard drive took a shit, and I thought it was backed up. It wasn't. Oh man, I had some spicy memes, man. Like, and that's the other thing. Like, that's the reason why Trump's called the memer in chief. And think about it. The people that were gotten rid of, like Paul Joseph Watson, he understood the power of the meme. Plus, the rights being too lenient at a time where leniency is pretty much a death sentence, especially a breaking point will happen, and when it does, it ain't gonna be pretty. Very true. Very true. And it's funny. I want a buddy of mine who, oddly enough, Samoan, has a copy of the Turner Diary. And I want to get a hold of that because there's a couple excerpts he read out of it for me. Like, just, because when he was reading it, and he explained how it's scary, how the Turner Diaries, which is basically like OG white nationalist writing, how it's scary at how accurate it shows the what's going on now, where reporting black people for a crime, a legitimate crime, is deemed racist and things of the such. We haven't been seeing that, not at all. Oh, excuse me. Like I said, I powered down dinner right before coming on to the stream, like literally within minutes of coming on the stream. All I gotta say, I'll share this one with y'all. Y'all will appreciate it. Before I get back to Duke. Yes, Christine Blasey Ford. Yes, because that was that whole situation. But all right, back to it. I know. I agree with you, Gorgonite. Like, oh man, those memes, and I was slowly, finally getting them like properly organized. Oh man, that's why I back up my funny folder like every couple of months now. Like, straight up, make sure to do that, because I'm not going to put myself in that situation where I'm like, I want a meme. I used to have a meme for this. I used to. I no longer do. See, and I'm not finding it. Then again, I need to organize this damn folder. Oh well. But actually, basically the dude that said it was Italian. Like, I think it's like a Italian philosopher or something like that. Couldn't say for sure. But yeah, like, regardless, to get back on track though, like the fact that you have a situation where these individuals are pushing for censorship, thinking, okay, this is going to work out. We'll be able to actually, you know what I mean? We'll be good. It's not going to hurt us any. And then they end up getting, like, let's be honest. It's like within the past couple months, there have been 2 or 3 journalists that have been brought under, basically given suspensions from Twitter for sharing things that were white nationalist or very whatever type symbols. And what's sad about it is they never learn. They never do. And they keep pushing for this conflict, and it's funny because they think if conflict would does bust out, they'll win. No, they won't. One, they're only 8%. See, the people on the far left like to cite the fact that the Revolutionary War was fought with only about 12 to 15% of the population amongst the colonies. Oh, I'm not sure. Never even heard of that. At least not that I can think of. But looking it up now. Oh no, but I'm going to hold on to that. That might be because that's later. That's this is a quote from, I do believe, the like 30s and 40s. I think that's when this quote came about. But no, it's oh yeah, I got it open. Might as well search it. This way I can tell you for sure. Uh, who said it? Ennio Flaiano? I think that's right. But yeah, and it's very true. Very true. But it's, where was I? I was actually, oh yeah. The Revolutionary War was only fought with like 12 to 15% of the population, but there was only about 5% of the population, if that, that was loyal to England. Everyone else, even though they weren't fighting, they were still helping out with the revolution in other ways. They're not these far lefties, these Antifa types that are pushing for the censorship and laugh and think, oh, you know, censorship's all good and this, that, and the other. Like, huh, I will definitely look into it. I'll try to find a copy. Never, you know me, I am not above expanding my book collection. Just saying. But the thing is, they don't have that same support. They won't have, you know, people that are trying to help them out the same way that the Revolutionary War had people who were helping out, even if they weren't fighting. They're going to be pretty much shown. They're going, yeah, they will get help from outside sources, people who have something to benefit from word going on, but people who have something to benefit from our downfall, i.e., China, Russia, things of the such. Countries that have good reasons financially to see us fall. And what's sad is the fact that they think that they will be able to be like, yeah, we got this, la da 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 da. Go censorship, go armed revolution. Oh, we thought we'd be able to win an armed revolution. I guarantee you 90% of those people, the minute they start to try to, you know, say, oh, I need to go to my safe space. Dude, you're in the middle of a revolution. Safe space! Yeah, you just give us your gun. Just give us your gun. You know, it's about like stress cards in the military. Just saying. And what you're going to end up seeing is in the end, it's not they. Everything they push for, all the censorship, all the, you know, banning of their political rivals and things like that, they think it's going to help them, and all it does is make the rivals stronger. Why? Because it's like I've stated before with, like, you know, how the war will be won with the normies, how the culture war, I should say, will be won with the normies. And the normies are seeing things like this go on, and they may not be engaging, but they are starting to wisen up to what's going on. They are starting to look at the situation and go, maybe, just maybe, these individuals are actually being censored. Maybe these individuals are being censored because they speak truth to power, and those with the power right now don't like it. And let's be honest, those with the power are the social media companies, are the big, you know, big tech oligarchs, you know, the CNNs, the HLNs, the MSNBCs, the things like the MSMs, you know, all of them. Oh, coffee. Yeah, coffee. Water. Trying to go down wrong too. Oh, anyway. I'm sorry. Wow. Water. Wrong too. But the normies are seeing this. And there's only so long that they can sit there and say they don't want to get involved. They want to be, they're not trying to get involved in the culture war. They're just trying to go through life with their blinders. But the more that they go through life with their blinders on, slowly but surely, the more people are coming up and rubbing them off because they are having their own experience with these far lefties. And that's what's doing it. It's not the people on the right that are opening these people's eyes, it's people on the far left. It's the constant my censorship, my white guilt, my white privilege, my this, my that. When they see a Trump supporter wearing a MAGA hat, out doing his own thing, and they see someone come up and harass them and assault them and do various things. Like, I can't remember the rapper's name, but he's basically he filmed and shared and then deleted the video of him assaulting some Asian Trump supporters wearing MAGA hats. And it's like, and they do this. They literally do. They do this, and they feel no shame. They don't sit there. They don't apologize. They don't act like, well, I was in the wrong, or I didn't really think about it like that, or I didn't bother to do my due research. And the rapper was Bigelow Black. I think I'm saying that right. Is who did it, and it's like, what do you expect to happen? Did you really think that you're just going to be able to do this and people not notice? People not be like, well, that's kind of messed up of you, things and such. Why? Well, oh God, I I've been scarred, guys. I've been scarred. I went and checked my notifications on Twitter real quick. Went back to my timeline, and I just see what's Amy Schumer, big old belly, little bit of under boob, just no makeup on, nothing, all this, that, and the other. I'm like, I already think you're just a disgusting human being. Now I'm just like, ugh. More of her than I ever wanted to see. Like her one photo shoot where she's dressed up like Princess Leia. You're not even that funny of a comedian. I'm just saying. Oh man, I just I feel bad for whoever got her pregnant, because the minute she's bored of them, she's gonna cast them aside and just run them through for child support. And it's like, man, who is it? It's to take a line from Drawn Together. Who's going to drop a log in that toilet? And then somebody did. I feel bad. I'm just saying. But yeah, I'm thinking either way, though. I think I've pretty much said everything I can about the censorship situation. I mean, it's sad. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunately we have a situation where you have people who don't want to actually take the 5 minutes it takes to actually look at how censorship has affected things in the past. Yeah. Thank you, Humble Marty. So, Attack of the Land Whale. Yes, Humble Marty. Attack of the Land Whale. That actually says it all. It's just like I said, it's but the Sputsy's reply was great. Who is this and why should I care? I just gotta say that's great. But yes, I mean, well, I don't have my Firefox up right now with the tab, and because I'm trying to get my tabs back under control. Don't judge me. I'm looking at modding Dead Rising 2 so it'll be actually frickin' playable on PC. So I got a lot of mods there open, but basically, apparently there was a lot more spying on the Trump campaign than what people realize. And it's coming out after the fact. My 2 cents on their dumbass excuse and rebuttal about the American Revolution. Trouble was harder back in the day. Britain lacked the technology at the time to maintain order in the colonies. Yes. Yes. Can't really say the same for current day America. Yes. Exactly. And as I've stated before, if it does come to what these far lefties want, their socialist revolution, here's the thing. Yeah, you'll have it won't be a revolution that everyone benefits from. It'll be your attempt at a revolution will hurt everyone. You won't just lose, everyone will lose. The government will use their attempt at a revolution. Mark my words, when it happens, the government's going to use their attempt at an armed revolution to take all our guns. Guarantee it. And it will lead to a civil war. Because the right's not going to give up their guns. No, we're not going to let a bunch of individuals on the far left who already do everything they can to skirt the law, to duck and dodge, having laws enforced on them to be armed and us to not. They've already said how they want open conflict. They've already said that they will remove our guns from our hand, from our cold, dead hand. Don't sit there and it makes no sense. And the fact that anyone with half a brain can sit there and go, I don't want to do that. That's just going to hurt me and everyone else. Why would I want to do this? It's like sticking a fork in a lights or in an electrical outlet. Oh, that hurt. I don't want to do that again. Just saying. And that's what these individuals do. They don't look at history. Because they're actually actively trying to destroy history. Why don't you think they want these statues gone? Why don't you think they want all these, Tim Pool put out a video today talking about how the removal of a George Washington memorial from a school. Why? Because of the fact that it may be viewed as offensive or overbearing to students. No, the fuck it ain't. And don't try to sit there and use that excuse. I'm sorry, but no. George Washington is the first president, so on and so forth. Did he have some flaws? Yes. It's like I went and explained or not so much explained, but I said to a friend of mine earlier, pop it, or try to find it. Give me the C curse. Facebook and your constant. Okay, saved. Cool. If I see something that's educational on Facebook, I try to save it. Man, I'm not a Godzilla fan, but Godzilla King of Monsters does look good. Yeah, I like this meme real quick. I have to share it. I have to share it. Because I was actually talking about this with a buddy of mine. Peter Dinklage is the man who made the Sentinels, Mjolnir, Infinity Gauntlet, and the Stormbreaker. All right? And it's funny because I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day about Peter Dinklage. Just side note, talking about something that's a bit more lighthearted real quick. When he played Bolivar Trask was not a little person or whatever they want to call themselves. I don't know. The politically correct term. But nobody cared. Why? Because Peter Dinklage is a good actor. The character wasn't all about how he's a dwarf. All right? It was he's afraid of mutants and he created the Sentinels. Okay? Whatever. Like it to me that was well done. That was the way it was supposed to be. It just It's a shame, really. All right, come on. Where is trying to find it again? Um, oh my God, y'all have to see this. Like the stupid is strong with these people. Stupid is very strong with these people. Dupe. All right. Just yelled at a prick with the audacity to wear a effing Make America Great Again hat in the middle of a jazz festival. I don't understand how people can be so hateful. I really don't. He was walking to see Irma Thomas, and he doesn't deserve to be within 10-mile radius of Irma Thomas. My head hurts now, guys. My head really hurts. My head really does. It's like, come on, just stop being dumb. How are you gonna sit there and ask how people can be so hateful when you are in fact being so hateful? Why, I want a MAGA hat. Come on, come on, fuck with me. I dare you. I freaking dare you. Where is it? Go figure. The one time I try to find a post by him, I can't. Yeah. Gotta share that. Gotta help out animator Josh and Troy. Speaking of, if y'all have not read the 5-page preview of the issue 2 of Wanpool, you'll need to head over to Twitter and do that after I get done streaming here soon. Because oh man, that's just saying. It's amazing. I literally was like, come on, man. Why are you gonna do that, Troy? 5 pages is not enough. 5 pages is not enough. Oh, that is gangster. I'm gonna have to see. Sorry, guys. I know I just got distracted. Basically, they're basically using drones to do work on Mars to be able to build structures and whatnot. I mean, granted, I would do it a bit differently, but yeah. I mean, my designs are different, but I basically the same design. Basically the same design. I'd have it be, like I said, just a little few things differently, but it's definitely doable. Definitely doable, and I like the idea because we do need to start worrying about colonization efforts. If we don't get off the planet within the next 100 years, we're screwed. And getting to Mars is the first step of getting off the planet. And then, of course, they bring out the standard cloth inflatable design. Stop using inflatable design. Nice. Do it, Humble Marty. Do it. Do it. Just. That's not. Whatever. Whatever. Think about, okay, the reason why you don't want to use, those who've seen The Martian, the reason why you don't want to have something like that for more than like, for a couple days, it makes sense. Okay, we're just too dangerous. You want a concrete structure that will be a lot harder to have failures of equipment with. All right, so even if let's say what the you know, like what they're doing here, where it's a concrete structure over the standard cloth and inflatable enclosures, that's still not going to work. You want it to be completely secure. All it'll take is one breach. Everyone in there's dead. And how hard is that a concept to grasp? You're building a concrete structure. Seal that motherfucker up. Get everything you need in there to be able to, you know, produce oxygen and things like that, and atmosphere in it. And then, you know, have it properly heated, things of the such. And then you don't have to worry about such things. Especially if you have multiple entrances into the bitch. But no, that's too galaxy brain for these people, apparently. Sorry. Got completely off topic. Because, you know, Facebook. And now y'all have seen it too. Just I don't know why that's funny to me. Don't ask. It is. All right. Basically, the post from him, since I can't seem to find anything from him, was along the lines of how people were referring to. Give me a sec. Obama as the Antichrist, and then how the person tried saying that the same people who referred to, let's see, but basically how people were referring to Trump as God's anointed. Yeah. No. Just saying. No. No one is referring to Trump as God's anointed. Like, if anything, I've heard conservatives refer to him as, you know, a very flawed man who is just happened to be the right person, the perfect person to portray, or not to portray, but to fix the country as a president. Just come on. And nope, that's Danny. That is hilarious, but not what I'm looking for. Come on. It's kind of sad, actually. Wait, maybe maybe unfriended me. Maybe that's why I can't find something by him. That would so be funny. And my luck, sitting here constantly trying to scroll, trying to find the post by him. He unfriended me because I called him on his bullshit, which I'm not gonna. Well, let's see. That is surprisingly hilarious. And no, I'm not finding it. All right. But basically, I called him on the bullshit. It's like, look, dude, stop trying to sit there and say that there is politeness because that people mistake it for flirtation. Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. All right. But I did finally find him. Let's see. Right here. This is the exact post. Calling a black POTUS married 25 years to one wife with 2 children, no mistresses, affairs, or scandals. He had plenty of scandals. Quit saying no scandal. Oh my God. I just was talking about 2 of them earlier. Anyway, the Antichrist, but a racist white POTUS married thrice. First off, who says he's racist? If I remember right, back in the 80s and 90s, Trump was known for being very much a philanthropist and doing his best to help inner city youths and things like that. Those same, black and brown kids that you like to hide behind when you make posts like this. Mm-hmm. Oh, but no, because he's a Republican now, because motherfuckers like you have run him off with your far left rhetoric, because people tend to forget Trump was a Democrat. Trump was a business Democrat. Trump was that for years. Why did Trump go from being a Democrat to being a Republican? Maybe it has something to do with the fact that you guys went all batshit goddamn crazy. And he understood that the only way to fix the country is by becoming a Republican and fixing it. And then what do? Y'all spend 2.5 years. No, 2.5. Wait, no, actually it started roughly, no, 2.5. 2.5, 3, because I remember it was building up to being a legit investigation before the election. But anyway, but white POTUS married thrice, 5 kids by 3 women, mistresses, affairs, and scandals. God's anointed proves your religion is white supremacy. My response: literally, no one is saying Trump's God's anointed. They say he's a very flawed man, but one that's perfect for getting the country back on track. Come on. And but these individuals are failing to realize that they don't shut up. If they shut up and listen to other people for 5 minutes, then they might actually learn something. And I don't mean sit there and wait for your turn to talk. I mean literally sit there, shut up, and actually listen to the argument. Think about it. Let it sink into that thick thing you call a skull. Swear to God, I've seen boards with less thick of skulls than some of these people. White supremacy, racism. You're just a racist white male who doesn't understand because you're not a person of color. And it's like, oh my God. It's like, stop being so damn stupid. And am I the only one that remembers that black people fought hard to stop being called colored? Why are you replacing it once again in modern day times with person of color? So you're saying they're colored again. Just saying. I thought the goal was to become Americans. The left, he's been helping the colored get out of their thumb for years, or get out from under their thumb for years. Of course, just it just boggles my damn mind. And then they're like, oh, of course Trump's he dog whistles to the white supremacists. If it's a dog whistle to the white supremacists, how are you hearing it? Not trying to even hide it. Like, come on. Just and it drives me up a wall. It really does. If it's a dog whistle, how are you hearing it? It will. It's like, and then they no. Prime example. This right here. Why did this have to be made into a race issue? Is one of the big things. And a court just ruled South African Olympic runner Caster Semenya must take medication to reduce the testosterone that her body naturally produces if she wants to compete. Meanwhile, medical tests prove that Michael Phelps' body produces less than half the lactic acid that his competitors produce. The Olympic Committee praised how lucky it was to have an insane genetic advantage. I think it's supposed to be he was, but and like the thing here, you know what they're saying. You know blatantly what they're saying. They're framing it as a white-black issue without saying it's a white-black issue. Oh, because she's black and South African and this, that, and the other, she has to receive hormone treatment because she produces too much testosterone. But Michael Phelps, he's white, so him having lower lactic acid is a good thing. And like a quick, okay, anyone who's been following the trans debate within sports knows, the one, she's born female, things like that. Her having higher levels of testosterone gives her an innate advantage because of the fact that she's going to have denser bones, stronger muscles. She's going to have a genetic advantage because of it. All right? They're just trying to make the playing field as even as possible. Lactic acid is what is it helps in the production of glycerin. So when you're exercising and whatnot, the higher levels of lactic acid help you produce higher levels of glycerin, giving you more fuel for your muscles as you are exercising or being a competition swimmer. Think about it, anyone who's done a lot of swimming knows swimming is very, very intensive on the body. Like, it requires a lot of energy and just you swim the way he does. Try doing a couple laps like Michael Phelps and see how quickly you run out of breath within that first lap. I'm just saying. And he is a Olympic level swimmer, and he has lower lactic acid levels. That means he has an actual disadvantage. But look at how they try to frame it. And certain individuals tried to say that, oh, well, they're making it a trans issue. No, if they were making it a trans issue, they would have, posted trans people. This is not a trans issue. And on top of that, she is a person who's born female. Born, not transitioning from male to female, born a female. And on top of that, if it was a trans issue, they could have gotten somebody who was any other color other than white, who they could have used, say, for instance, Merriweather. I'm sure he's got conditions that would, that could affect his boxing, things like that. There's so many people they could have filled that with that, but no, it's a subliminal. It's anyone who knows intersectionality and has researched what they do. This is par for the course. You see it. It's this is not a dog whistle. This is in your face. This is big red letters on the wall. Only those who don't follow the culture war would really not catch it. But whatever. Like I said, and this is so once again though. And then they sit there and talk about whatever. Either way. All right, I've been blathering on for an hour and 40 minutes, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, my throat's getting a little sore. My throat's getting a little sore, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. But still, I'm just saying it's a situation that is easily avoidable. Quit sitting there saying everything's a dog whistle. Quit trying to get your opponent censored. Quit trying to act like the president's some sort of Nazi, because all you're doing is hurting your own argument. And I'm a person who loves debating. Love debating. To me, it is a great pastime. It's one of those things that I think if more people understood how to debate, you would see things be... You would see less people saying stupid things. You'd see less people trying to get others deplatformed. You'd see less people trying to, create echo chambers and things like that. They would be less likely to stay in their echo chambers. They'd step out of them. They'd be like, challenge me, challenge my beliefs. I want to be able to sit there and have these debates, because I know by having these debates, by having these conversations, I will be able to defend my position better. But all right, folks. Like I said, I'm going to call it here. For those who are watching it later and are possibly new to my channel, you can find me on Twitter at Brainiac420. You can find me on Mindscab, TikTok, and Instagram at Bob Jones Comic Wars. And you can find me on BitChute as Bob Jones. And so, with that, I bid you folks adieu.